This video is going to be my reaction to the Seahawks 33-16 shellacking of the Kansas City Chiefs week 2 of the preseason. Seattle's new offensive scheme was on full display under Clint Kubiak. This time they rolled up 477 yards of offense. Look, the Seahawks didn't punt until the fourth quarter, and that was Jalen Milroe's first drive. It stalled just past midfield. I think they were facing a 4th and 3 or maybe a 4th and 4 at the Chiefs' 40-yard line. Very easily could have went for it in a regular season situation. Totally one-sided dynamic all the way around. Skewed a little bit by Sky Moore's punt return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Sam Darnold and Drew Lock, they finished a combined 14 of 16 passing. Lock had a pair of touchdown passes to Jake Bobo, the second of which was outstanding. A well-timed ball in terms of the pace and location from Lock, and then Bobo going up to stab it over the top of the defender. Kubiak's run game, which last week put up 170 yards, this week produced 268. Seattle fans are rightfully excited and looking ahead to this offense in the regular season and how it can time up, or how it can pair up, I should say, with Seattle's already very talented defense. The offensive line, I have to give credit to John Snyder. Health considerations also, but it looks drastically improved right now. Whether second string or even third string guys are on the field, there's a lot of under center run concepts, and then the associated play action boot stuff, which will be considered complementary. Really, I thought this was just basic offensive scheme for real. The Seahawks out executed, out physicaled Kansas City, if that's even a word, out everything the Chiefs tonight. I thought Seattle just played at a higher frequency throughout. Really, the defense. Yeah, they had a few struggles when Gardner Minshew was in the game for Kansas City. At least one blown coverage, maybe two. Minshew finished 7 of 9 passing for 70 yards and then 1 touchdown. But overall, the Seahawks outgained the Chiefs 477 to 156. So a 3-1 margin, essentially. Finished with 29 first downs. We'll let some of the stats flow through here. If you've ever checked out any of my reaction videos, I try to vacillate between just pictures and the stats, and then we'll review some specific plays a little bit later. There's just a ton of guys making plays and a ton of offensive linemen executing and winning their battles at the point of attack. I thought the Chiefs had at least 3 or 4 starters in on the first possession, maybe more. I could be wrong. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. This game was actually more dominant, really, in that the Chiefs didn't commit any turnovers, right? There was a safety by the backup defensive tackle, 95, for Seattle. This is just a ton of consistent wins for the Seahawks up front. From a defensive standpoint, outside linebackers pressuring the quarterbacks at times. I thought there was 2 obvious holds on the Chiefs not called. I really couldn't believe that they weren't called. They shut down Kansas City's run game. 17 carries for 68 yards for the Chiefs overall. 4 yards per carry compared to, I think, 7.6 for the Seahawks. And that was actually 7.6 held until later on in the game when the Chiefs started stacking the box and really slowing down the run game because they understood what the dynamic was in the fourth quarter. In terms of the offensive system, we all know that Kubiak brings a completely new dynamic compared to what you got last year in Seattle. But despite all the success, right, averaging 6.9 yards per play, rolling over everybody that Kansas City put out there on defense. First string, second string, third string. These were really simple concepts. I'm talking, this is just my estimation here. Feel free to adjust it or respond to it if you want. 10 to 15% of the Kubiak scheme in its entirety in terms of how things were revealed tonight. Meaning, I don't think he got really deep into the playbook or the bag, if you will. Look, Kubiak's got a great scheme component to his offense. We only saw one tonight. That was the slot screen to Bobo that he worked his way into the end zone to make it 14-0, I think on the second snap of the second quarter. No running back screens that I saw, at least through 3 quarters. Once the fourth quarter began, I started working on my reaction video on one screen and then keeping an eye on the game on the left-hand side when Milroe was on a quarterback a lot because Kansas City couldn't maintain possession. The competitive balance was really lopsided. This offensive line, if you get this kind of play in the offense in the regular season, this is going to be a leading element for what Mike McDonald wants to do. And let me explain that a little bit, and then we will talk about some parts of the game and review the first 2 possessions. Last week, Seattle puts up 170 yards rushing in the 23-23 tie. Tonight, 268 on the ground. So now if I did my math right, you're looking at an average of 219 on the ground per game. That's not going to sustain. You're not going to stay at 219, right? But it's a fun offense so far. You could see it from the defensive guy. I think you can see how excited people are about this team by watching the defensive players' reactions to the offense putting up points like this and controlling the ball. The enthusiasm is earned. If you can possess the ball like this in the first half, it was a 2-1 margin. It's like 1940 to 10 something, and then end up 38-21 for the game in Seattle's favor. Obviously, this will be a huge help to a young, talented defense that does have depth, but at a couple of positions perhaps could use more. The formula appears obvious now, right? Get some leads, stop or slow down the run game, and let Mike McDonald and Aiden Durday put people into that grinder of a shit ton of 3rd and 6s, and we're going to trick you, fool you a considerable amount of time. That really, for lack of a better description, that's the Ravens in 2023. That's the patterns of gameplay. They're just so similar to me that I feel like I have to mention it. But let's review the halves. I had considerable notes from the first half. I didn't really see the game tightening at all at halftime, so I wrote most of my notes then. Outstanding first half offensively. Seattle outgained Kansas City 309 to 104. And like I said, time of possession was a 2-1 ratio. Locke and Darnold were 11 of 13 passing at the time. I was a little surprised that Locke came out in the third quarter. Darnold was 4 of 4. He had 3 boot concepts, easy completions out into the flats. He had like a snag or 3-step scheme at least that I think was complete to Arroyo, the rookie tight end. Derek Young had 3 catches for 52 yards. Bobo had the 2 touchdowns, 1 on a slot screen, and then the second one, which I've already kind of talked about, a nice win versus the corner and tight coverage in the red zone. Insane production in the first half. The offensive line did everything well. The run game, I think there was one running play late in the second quarter that ended up being a tackle for loss, maybe a 1-yard loss. And I may be wrong there. Maybe it occurred in the third quarter. 8 different players had catches in the first half. Bobo's second score made it 23-7 in the final minute of the half. Truly one-sided. Now, look, the Chiefs didn't play Mahomes or Kelsey, right? Why would they? But there were a number of starters out there early, particularly on the defensive side, and Seattle's offensive line dominated them. I mean, absolutely dominated. Only one run in the first half was short of a 3-yard gain. One run by a running back, I should qualify, right? Milroe, of course, came in for the quarterback sneak on the field. He's on the field with Darnold on that, so that's really cool. That's a little bit of advertising, perhaps, meaning I think Kubiak's offense, one of the things he wants to do is he wants to keep you off balance with a bunch of different personnel groups, and in this case, a short yardage situation with 2 quarterbacks on the field. You have to think at some point there's probably some kind of a complementary or secondary play off that. In any case, no trickery tonight other than that. No obfuscation. This was the O-line just putting it on the Chiefs in the run game. Charbonnet got it started, right? He had the 15-yard touchdown to cap the first drive. Halani, I think, had a 30-yard run. Martinez, 7 carries for 39 yards. For some reason, people were like down on him after last week. It's like he's a rookie in his first game in the NFL. He certainly looked good tonight. The Seattle offense was just clicking on all cylinders. Impressive opening half at home in a light rain or mist, as Michael Bennett called it. Somehow I ended up with a local stream, and it was fun to listen to him in the second and third quarters. I like the dynamic of how he kind of goes at one of the lead announcers, who's also good, by the way. Let's look at the first possession. The Seahawks just tuned up the Chiefs' defense with their starters on the field, opening the game. This was a series of play-action boot passes, so you can see my descriptors, what I normally do during the game is track it, down and distance on the left, then yard line is the second column. Personnel group is the third one. You can see the fourth play down. I put weird 2-quarterback system. Sometimes I'm a little bit off. I think my formation there is wrong. And, of course, trying to type fast and tab over, I spell stuff wrong occasionally. But that 3rd and 1, I put double wing. I don't think it's actually a double wing formation. It's the QB sneak by Milroe that I'm referring to for 1 yard. The very next play is one of those tosses, and they really got outside consistently against this Chiefs defense. I like to diagram out plays sometimes in these reaction videos. I wanted to do that for this one. Maybe I'll follow up and do that on Saturday in one of the film study videos that I do. If you're not aware, the NFL has already started with their copyright claims, and what they do is they're not actually telling us we can't use the film. What they're doing is trying to take whatever small revenue we generate. So, in any case, the film studies that I get out this weekend, I'll get them out as quick as possible to try to generate as much revenue as possible for 2 or 3 days before the NFL pulls their bullshit. That's just the reality of what we're dealing with. Charbonnet, I thought looked great. From the opening snap, 13 yards, lead zone downhill, just opened up. That was a really nice job by Lucas, who I thought looked good tonight. Basically, Charbonnet cut off him downhill. It was a run play to the left-hand side. Charbonnet had 45 yards on the drive. Really dominant situation. I love the 2nd and 4 play from the Chiefs 37. It's the third play for the bottom for you guys. It's a play action fake. I believe it's a fake toss. And the fullback fakes like it's counter and then slips back out into the flats to the left-hand side. Darnold and Locke, both, you can tell they're drilled extremely well because moving to their left as right-handed quarterbacks, they put those passes right on the tight end or the fullbacks perfectly. And in this case, it was a 13-yard gain to the fullback, I think, Oots. The very next play, another play action boot, and this one was Arroyo in the right flats for 9 yards. So you can see that on the 2nd and 4, the ball was on the right hash, and on the 1st and 10, the ball was on the left hash. So boot action out to the field, and then the split zone concept out of I have it listed as 22 personnel. The 2nd and 1 from the 15, Charbonnet's touchdown run. I have it listed as 22 personnel in the third column over. That's not true. It's actually 13 personnel, 3 tight ends on the field, and we knew coming in with Kubiak that that was one of the things he was going to do was oftentimes go to heavier personnel groups. We'll review the second possession here in a moment. I do want to talk about the Chiefs' first drive. This is Julian Love, and the starters are out there on the field. Julian Love stopped the running back steal short on like a dive play, reverse pivot. And we got a really, at least the stream I was watching, we got a really horrible virtual measurement for. It looks like something from Madden 2005 to me in terms of the technology. When they show, I don't know what's shown on the scoreboard or what it will look like during the regular season. If that's what we're getting, I think we can just do better than that. I really do. I sound like an old curmudgeon who criticizes everything new, I know, but I think it's just a terrible look, and it looks like something from 20-year-old technology. Not impressive at all, in my opinion. But you're welcome to have a different opinion and let me know about it. Minshew did have the Chiefs on the move there behind the starting offensive line, but Seattle got a stop. A lot of 11 personnel trips for the Chiefs to the field, so nickel defense, in fact, for the Seahawks. However, there were some times where Manwari's on the field as a dime linebacker. And I thought I saw one of them on the first possession for the Chiefs and a bunch of them on the second. But after that stop, like I said, the tackle by Love, and actually Ernest Jones IV is there as well to hit Steele and hold him up short. There was a blown coverage on that possession by the Seahawks that I'll try to explore in a film study video. Second drive for Seattle, the running game just took the life out of the Chiefs here. By the end of the first quarter, they have 119 rushing yards, and that's including a 19-yard run from Martinez at the end of the period. You had Charbonnet, you had Halani, Martinez. By the end of the first quarter, you're already just wrecking them with a third running back, and I love that play. It's the third one from the bottom for you guys. It's the last snap of the first quarter. 20 personnel is what I think you've got. So 2 running backs, Martinez and a fullback, and 3 receivers. And I have it called spread I. Spread I just means 3 receivers are all apart from the formation. So you've got the 5 offensive linemen, quarterback, and the fullback, tailback in the backfield. Of course, that's 8 guys. But it's a lot of times you're getting a 4-2-5 look. In this case, the Chiefs still walk down a safety rolled up to the boundary. I have it strong safety rolled up, and that's exactly where they ran, and they still got a big gain out of it, 19 yards. At that point, it was just nasty. I think I was wrong. The very next play was the one that was a 1-yard gain. The first snap of the second quarter, Martinez, and then the screen to Bobo for a touchdown to open, or second snap of the second quarter. Drew Lock looked really good, in my opinion. I thought he made good decisions. He had a really nasty completion to, I think it's 82, one of the other receivers. I forget his name briefly here. Later on in the game in the third quarter, The slot screen to Bobo looked like he was looking over there, examining it. I mean, Drew Lock's played well the first 2 weeks, in my opinion, for large stretches. And at this point, it's 166 total yards after the second touchdown. 166 total yards. Absolute dominance by the Seahawks offensive line. Nick Manwari spent pretty much the whole second possession as a dime linebacker in passing situations, and that was really cool. It seemed like strategic usage to give him reps there. The Chiefs did drive down the field on that second possession, get a touchdown. There was a DPI called on Seattle safety on a second down, maybe a third down. Ended up getting a touchdown in the end zone. Really nice job by Minshew on a cheap play to his right. It's like full flow. The tailback and Minshew are both going out to the right. And he kind of throws across his body to the veteran tight end, Robert Tonyan, who got away from the defensive back, I think number 23, for a 1-yard touchdown. Manwari's usage is interesting. I did a video on him about a week and a half ago. You guys chewed it up and watched a ton of it. I was really appreciative for that. So thank you for checking out my content. If you do enjoy my work and you'd like to support me at all in any way, you can obviously watch videos, like them, and comment them. Or if you'd like to join my Patreon for the Seahawks, I think it's $5.50 a month. And it's through the Patreon link that is in the description of this video. And all it does is support me and provide some monetary donation / compensation for me each month to further influence me to make Seahawks videos, but just really justify my time to my wife in terms of how much I watch NFL film in my free time and in the middle of the night like this. Seahawks' third drive was also worthy of a score. Lock is in, obviously, but they decided to go for it on a 4th and goal from the 2. Jumbo 22 set. You kind of knew what was coming. It wasn't going to be a run that far out. It was maybe just outside the 2. And schematically very similar to the touchdown pass by Minshew. It's a play-action cheat play, and Locke just can't find anybody. He tries to come back over the middle, and it's Brian Cook nearly making a diving interception. So a really nice play by him on that. Locke had a 30-yard scramble, if you remember, on that drive, a third down. Kansas City, it seemed like when Locke came in and there was third downs, they were going to bring pressure. They were going to bring a ton of pressure, and they were going to come after him. I'm going to move on a little bit to the second half here in a moment, but I do want to re-mention the brilliance of the offense in the first half. 309 yards total offense, 19 first downs, averaging 8.6 yards per play. Everything was working. Sharp, smooth stuff. Running backs getting to the line of scrimmage or past it. 174 rushing yards in the first half. 5 different running backs touched the ball. Actually, for the game, I think it was 6, but I'm just referring to the first half. So just amazing output production statistically and also efficiency by the Seahawks. Chiefs did open the third quarter with a drive to get to within 23-10. Tonyan had an 18-yard catch there, and then converted a field goal by Harrison Butker to get to 23-10. Really, I thought the game was over there, and I thought we were really going to get Milroe. But Locke stayed in, and he was making plays. Cody White, number 82 that I mentioned earlier, the completion from Locke was to him against pressure. There's a D tackle kind of hanging all over him a little bit, and Locke still makes the play, gets the ball out. He actually had the ball kind of tucked, picks it up, finds White over the middle. I guess there's a battle between Cody White and Derek Young. I'm not sure what the wide receiver position looks like for the 53 or just guys that are going to stick around. Both of them were impressive. Derek Young, a great special teams player, I do know that, looked really good at receiver as well. At this point in the third quarter, Locke is 9 of 11 passing, and all of it is short stuff, right? Play action boots, but it was all effective, and the Chiefs had some talented players on the field. Noah Williams is a really good corner out of Cal that I scouted last year. The margin of the differential ended up swelling to 30-10. Damian Martinez, first touchdown, came on a power concept. Interestingly, it was the left guard whose name I can hopefully pronounce, Bryce Caladu. I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but he got hurt earlier in the game, and then he returned to take part in the real bludgeoning that the offensive line was handing out. To this point, when it's 30-10, running backs have 217 rushing yards, and then Seattle's defense really just started swarming. Another drop by Sky Moore, who really seemed to struggle other than the punt return. Seattle got a second stop, forced a punt. Jake Bobo had a nice return up the middle, and you could see pretty much the game was over by the end of the third quarter. And so I started working on a reaction video and keeping an eye on Milroe. See, things were pretty vanilla with Milroe in there as well. And so when I say earlier on that Kubiak's showing about 10 to 15% of his offense, I really mean that. Your percentage might be different, but I don't really think it should be higher than 20. Kubiak has a great screen game. Uh, Really fantastic 11 personnel pass game, particularly on third downs that we saw last year in New Orleans, San Francisco when he was the pass game coordinator in 2013. I think the offense here is not just headed in the right direction. I think this offense is really ready for the regular season. It looks like it to me. I'm not sure if I have the same opinion as everyone else. I don't really see any reason for the starters to play in the third preseason game, but Mike McDonald will probably do that. One or two possessions. It seems like he's trying to gear them up, and everything looks sharp, looks fantastic. The offensive line, you should be excited about. I'm really looking forward to trying to break down some of the offensive line film again this week. I did a Gray Zabel video last week. As an aside, don't watch any of my Seahawks videos from a week and a half ago because they've all been chopped up by the NFL slash YouTube's Content ID system. Forcibly had to edit them to remove those plays so I could retain the revenue. You might think that it sounds petty on my part, but if I spend an hour or an hour and 15 minutes on a video, I'd like to be compensated for it in some manner, and the YouTube revenue system provides that, which is great, right? And then the NFL interrupts it by claiming the monetization. So, and anyway, my explanation is not to get you to play. I'm not playing the victim mode or getting you to feel sorry for me. My point is, don't waste your time going back and watch the videos from the Raiders game because they've been chopped up at this point, and that's why, because they were forcibly edited, not by my choice. In any case, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section. I know you enjoyed the game. So hopefully some other Seahawks fans would like to hear my thoughts on the matter, on the entirety of the game, the offensive line performance, the quarterback's play, as well as 6 running backs really beating the shit out of the Chiefs. Please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Finally, one more plug of my Patreon. It is $5.50 a month. If you're interested in supporting me, you can support just during the season for 4 or 5 months, and really it gains you access to an exclusive private Seahawks fans community. Right now, I think we have 7 people in there, and essentially you can discuss the game at your own leisure or with me through the Discord app. I have the Discord app on my phone, and so I interact with fans pretty much all day. It's Seahawks fans only in that Discord, so there won't be any trolls or any negativity outside of the fan base, and it's really a way to provide that forum for Seahawks fans and hopefully generate a small income for me. Like I said, it's $5.50 a month. If you're at all interested, the link is in my description. Appreciate you guys' time. Please look out for the film study videos to come out hopefully beginning late Saturday afternoon on basically what was an entire first round knockout where the guy who got knocked out had to get up and play another possession, and the Seahawks just kept knocking him out. In this case, it was the Chiefs, a team that I'm always happy to see get their ass beat. Appreciate you guys' time.